out of the gate to, how about Eric in Long Island? He gets us started. He likes the NFL draft. He's a big Eagle fan. Let's see what he has to say. Eric, take it away, pal. What's going on? What do you have for me?
I'm doing good, dog. A couple of quickies before I get to the draft. I'm not going to get a chance to talk to you tomorrow, so I'll give you my picks. I'm going to take the Capitals in 6 over the Penguins.
Wow.
They come up a little banged up.
Right.
I just think it's the Capitals' time. Penguins a little banged up, injuries. I just think this will be their year. They finally get through Pittsburgh.
Well, you get one of these years you're going to be right with the Capitals. One of these years. Go ahead.
I love Nashville back in January when I made that play.
Now you're worried. You like Winnipeg. You told me that.
I think Winnipeg's a better team right now at this junction. I take San Jose in 6 over Vegas, and I'm going to take Tampa in 5 over the Boston-Toronto winner. I just think, and I do think Toronto goes on the road and exercises the demons tonight in Boston and wins a 4-3 type of game. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I'm looking forward to hearing Melrose later. Number 2, dog. I actually heard a little bit of CMB over a little bit earlier,
right?
Taking some shots at you.
Yeah, I heard about this. That. I did not hear it, but everybody's been informing me. What did they actually say?
All right. So from a Carlin perspective, he reached out to you a couple of times via phone. You never returned his phone call.
Right, he reached out one time on the phone when I was on the train. He said, "Pick up short and sweet." I didn't, and then he texted the infamous, you know what, when he was annoyed at me.
And then,
go ahead.
And from a Maggie perspective. You had interviewed her in the past at, Sports Illustrated.
No, she interviewed me. She interviewed me.
No, she interviewed me. Exactly. She interviewed you. You had some great things to say about her. But as soon as she got the job, you basically trashed her.
No, I didn't. I have never trashed her once. That's a bunch of nonsense. I have never trashed her once. Go ahead.
And number three with Bart, which I found hysterical.
Right.
So your big thing with Bart is the baseball knowledge. Not being comfortable with baseball. His reply earlier today is like, listen, baseball is new to me. It's something that since December I've started to study a little bit more. But basically, somebody like you, dog, basically needs the attention now. And if you're gonna compare the fact that you're talking basketball, football, even boxing, he referenced to him, you couldn't hold a candle to him when it comes to those types of sports, which I started hysterically laughing. And he also said that given the opportunity of coming on the air with them, you've declined that offer, and even in person at the Super Bowl, that you would not want to sit down face to face with Bart and basically, tell him what was on your mind.
You know what? They're going to get me to go over there, and I'm going to tell Bart right to his face that he shouldn't be on the radio. Would you like me to say that? What do you think? Somehow he thinks somehow I'm afraid to approach Bart Scott and say, Bart, you have good man, good guy, knock him dead, but you shouldn't be doing a talk show. Would you like me to say that to him? I don't. And the idea, how many times? I mean, I can't believe I'm going. How many times do I have to explain the Super Bowl scenario? How many times do I have to explain it? That was not the time and the place to go do their show. Simple as that. My bosses themselves would have been annoyed as all can be, and I have to somehow think about Mr. Greenstein and Mr. Meyer, who pay me millions to do these shows. Chris, can you do us a favor and maybe lay low with this? So how come nobody? And by the way, one thing about Maggie, Colin, you be my. How many times have I supported Maggie on this show? I have never once ever said anything about Maggie. I said that was a good hire. I can see why they did it. I was impressed with her from Sports Illustrated's day when she interviewed me last June. Eric, you take my word for it. I have done that a million times with Maggie Gray. So I don't know where Maggie thinks I've trashed her. Bart Scott, one more time. So one more time. If Bart wants me to run down to Hudson Street, I'll do it. Bart, you should not be on the air. You are not qualified. And just like I wouldn't be qualified to be a linebacker coach, if you were playing, you are not qualified under any circumstances to doing an afternoon talk program on any big market station in the country. It's as simple as that. I don't know what. And listen, Eric, you might disagree, and maybe I'll be wrong. We'll see. But he's not. And I'm not looking. Trust me, I am not looking for publicity. I could. Let me go home. Let me go home. Read my Mickey Mantle books. Walk into the house. Get my tennis in. Play the golf on the weekend, and watch Breaking Bad. I don't want the freaking publicity. I don't need the damn publicity, for crying out loud. You may continue. Go ahead.
All right, doggy. But yeah, it was pretty funny. Basically, they called you a fraud. It was hysterical. But anyway, let's get to the NFL draft real quick. I'm with you, dog. I mean, I agree with you in the sense that I think the Browns And I know they're probably not going to do it, but if I'm them, I'm going Saquon Barkley number one. I mean, think about this. The Giants are not taking Josh Allen. There's no connection there. You've not heard that before. The Jets, from what I understand and what I've been reading, they're more in the Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen camp. If Josh Allen is your guy, he's going to be sitting there at number 4 for you anyway.
Right.
Why not take Barkley 1 and take Josh Allen 4? The Browns are afraid that if they don't take the quarterback 1, the fan base is going to be up in arms. But if they play this correctly, and I believe Josh Allen's going to be there.
Well, the only negative is, Eric, you're right. I do the same thing if they like Allen. The only negative is that is only works if the Giants go out there and take Darnold with the second pick. If the Giants trade the pick after Barkley gets picked up by the Browns and they trade down, and a team like Buffalo moves up and for ungodly reason take Allen over Darnold, then they're in trouble. Because then they might be resulting in Rosen and Mayfield, because then maybe the Jets take Darnold with the third pick. The point of the matter is they can't completely be sure 100% that Allen will be there at 4 if they take Barkley at 1. Teams could trade. Maybe the Giants quietly love Allen. Who knows? And there's a chance that Allen and Darnold will go 2-3 in any particular order, and then they might have the other two as a big drop-off. That's the only negative of it from a standpoint of what could happen with the Giants pick if they take Barkley. But generally speaking, I agree. We continue here on Mad Dog and Leash. Zig for